Okay, so this is a short video to show you how to annotate the different gestures in order to complete assignment 1. As you can see, I've already loaded the GUI, and what I will do is I will go through I will go through the process of annotating this particular gesture so that you can see how it is done and also see how the UI works. Right, so the first thing you can see is this is the frame or the video of the gesture that you have recorded. Then over here there's a display of the figure that shows the skeleton to be annotated. Up here you can select different gestures, so by switching that you can see that the video changes. And down here is the frame slider, which moves the video forward or backward in time. Then we have the list of all the joints, and we can move forward and backward across the different joints to annotate them. And we can also click on the GUI to directly select a specific joint. Right, so what I will do is I will go through this process and annotate this hand down here in the very first frame of the video. And as you can see, once I click, it automatically jumps to the next frame, so you can just go through and you get a little annotation of the drawing. Now, if a joint is not visible, do not annotate it. So we just select the button and skip to the next one. There's this finger. Oops, this was a mistake. And in order to correct the mistake, I can select the joint. As you can see, I can select markers here directly and move them and drag them around. And then I can go to the button up here that says trash can keyframe, delete the keyframe, done, it's gone, jump to the next one and correct it. Alright, now we have our first frame annotated. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the very last frame and we're going to just redo this annotation. We could drag the markers around, but we can also just click where we want it to be and it will directly set the marker. Now that these annotations are done, you can see that if I move the slider, the joints move in annotation, and the first frame and the last frame, they match because we have already annotated those, but in the middle here there seems to be some offset. And this offset is bad because of course our machine learning algorithm cannot, if it doesn't get correct labels, it will not learn the correct thing. So we're going to go back to the start and slowly push this forward, and as we can see that our annotations are no longer correct, we will adjust them so that they match again. Yep, and now if we do this first part again, just to make sure, as you can see, now it very nicely tracks until to the point where we have annotated, and as we continue forward, the markers deviate even more. So again, over here we adjust the markers and we just keep doing that until we're all the way through the gesture. And now what I've done is I have this little weird bump here, which I don't like. And in order to get rid of that, I go a bit before the actual keyframe. As you can see, somewhere here are the actual keyframes, the little bulbs. And this moves along this line. And when I now select the go forward to the next keyframe button, I will jump to the next keyframe where this particular joint is annotated. And then I'll hit the trash can and it is gone. Then I will do the same thing again and delete all those keyframes. And now I will go back and I will check that this joint tracks smoothly, while also correcting any other joints that I see that don't track smoothly. And that looks pretty good. Now there's one more thing, which is this particular joint. Some of you may have noticed this pinky is actually not very nicely tracked, but also this pinky here is actually not shown, but I have still annotated it. So what I want to do now is get rid of this entire annotation. For this, there's this big red button, reset joint, which gets rid of the joint entirely and resets it to 0. And now we have our annotation. And in order to export that to a CSV file, we can click the Save CSV button, which then creates a CSV file in our assignment 1 folder down here, named after the first name, the last name, and your student number once you have put that in. And there you have your annotations. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show.